Okay, so this is our first information meeting about Hurricane Helene recovery workdays that President Nolan has been wonderful enough to say, yes, let's have our staff and faculty, to the degree that they're on campus this summer and able and want to join us, to go into our affected communities and do some hands work to do some of the recovery. So for a quick introduction, if I haven't met you, first of all, thank you all for being here. Nathan and I were really excited when we saw how many people had signed up for this information session today and again for tomorrow. My name is Susan McCracken. I am the Vice Provost for Community Engagement, and I direct our Go Beyond the Classroom Quality Enhancement Plan. And I'd like to ask Nathan if he'd introduce himself.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nathan Farner, Community Engagement Specialist in the Office of Community Engagement. So just help with community partnerships and development throughout the region. So excited to have so many folks on.
Great. All right. Well, thank you. Well, what we want to do today is give you just kind of a high level overview of what the intent of these recovery work days will be. And then we're going to talk through the process. And my phone never ever rings, and now it's ringing. So we're just going to turn that down. So anyway, we're going to talk through the process of registering and how we envision this going. We've not done this before, so we would appreciate everyone's patience with us, but we're really excited about the initial interest. So as you all know, on September 27th, this region, a large region, really from Virginia down to Georgia, was pretty devastated by Hurricane Helene. We have 6 counties in Northeast Tennessee that have probably received, they received the brunt of the damage in Tennessee. And Nathan and I and our colleague Joy Fulkerson, and probably several of you, have been involved in different ways with some of the long-term recovery groups in this region. And they're at a point now where there really is a process of rebuilding homes, getting into homes, demolishing homes, trying to help and get businesses back on their feet. So a couple of weeks ago, I had the privilege of taking some students. We went up to Johnson County. We did some work in Carter County, and we did some work in Marshall, North Carolina, actually hands on the ground, boots on the ground, working in recovery work and rebuild work. And so we approached President Nolan and said, back in the fall, you allowed our staff to take up to 15 hours of leave to do work, relief work. At that point, we were very much in a relief effort. And what if we had some days that were organized and structured for the university, where staff, instead of reporting to their office, would report to their work site for the day? And he and Provost McCorkle were very supportive and very excited about that. So in a nutshell, what we are working on and scheduling will be 4 days this summer: June 24, June 26, no, July 30, July 31, that will be structured days. And those are the only approved days at this point where people can sign up to come. We really would envision people coming as a team. So I see Jenny Lockmiller on my screen. So maybe it's Jenny and the team from Career Services say, you know what, we are all hands on deck for June 24th. Tell us where to go. My sort of thing was, what if we had 4 days and we had 25 people each day? That's 100 days of work that we are able to invest in our communities and provide the support. We have volunteers coming from all over the country. And how do we do that ourselves? So that's what President Nolan has supported. And that's really what we're here to tell you a little bit about today. But ultimately, we envision these work days. They likely will be requiring of a fair amount of physical effort. We don't envision anything, no one's going to need to be able to do tongue and groove, finish a staircase banister, or have highly technical skills. But these projects will require some lifting. They will require some dexterity. We are working on an option that may not be as physically have as many physical requirements, but that's what we're going to share with you today. So with that, and the other thing I would just say is while there are 6 counties in Northeast Tennessee that have, probably have the biggest efforts around recovery, we are hoping to focus the projects on Washington, Carter, and Unicoi. There is a chance that one of the projects may go into Greene or Cott County, but we are still working on that. So Nathan, anything else there that I should touch on before I turn it over to you to talk about how we envision the process going?
Don't think so, unless folks have questions about that, and then I'll get into a little bit more logistics of what this actually looks like in process. So
Okay, I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to you.
perfect. Okay, let's hope that screen sharing works. Let's see here. Are you all able to see the dates? Perfect. Hopefully that is helpful. I know Susan shared them, but hopefully seeing them is helpful. So as Susan shared, the employee service days, we have 4 that are confirmed. Tuesday, June 24th, Thursday, June 26th, Wednesday, July 30th, Thursday, July 31st. There is the potential that we may look at adding a couple of more going into the fall, but we won't likely be doing any more earlier than these dates. So these will be the dates that are currently locked in. Again, we'll keep you all updated if we add more. I will also have these dates after this call added onto the website where you all registered for this as well, so that you can go back to reference those as needed. So before I jump into the actual registration process and what this will look like, I wanted to add a couple of extra pieces of information that folks may have. First is around time. We do envision all of these dates, regardless of the date, that they will roughly take place within normal business hours. So that 9 to 4:30, 8 to 4, 9 to 5-ish window. So ideally, you know what date you're going to be participating, you or your team are going to be volunteering on. Ideally, you and your team can, instead of reporting directly to the office, can report directly to that service site that morning, be there at 9:15, depending on the location. It'll differ slightly day to day. You all will work there during the day and go home from there. So unless you just really want to come to the office early in the morning, really the goal is that it kind of is a full work day off campus. And of course, that'll vary slightly depending on the location and depending on the service project itself. Our goal, as Susan shared, is all of these ideally are going to be within 30-ish minutes of campus. So none of them, we're not sending anybody an hour and a half away. That would eat into the service time. So the goal would be everybody can get there within a good 30, 45 minutes at the max, maybe if we dip into Greene County just a little bit. But roughly 9 to 4:30, 9 to 5 will be the window. That will include lunch. We will be providing lunch to all of the volunteers on site those days. And everyone will also be given a t-shirt in advance to wear on the service date, courtesy of the president's office as well. So everybody will match for all the photos in your office. I'll have matching shirts as you're volunteering together. And of course, we will provide lunch. Again, we're going to be on a construction site, on a service site, perhaps in some rural communities. If there are some, we will ask a little bit closer for some dietary restrictions. Having said that, I would encourage folks, if there are some very specific dietary restrictions, if folks want to pack a lunch and bring it, that might be a safe option as well, but we will try to accommodate to the best of our abilities, recognizing that in the sites that we're serving in, options may be somewhat limited. So just keep that in mind with your teams. We'll try our best to honor those as we are able. Transportation will be on your own or carpooling. So we are not doing shuttle service. We're not doing any kind of vans because, again, the goal is that folks can just go directly from their homes to the location and back home or back to the office on their own. So, of course, we encourage you to carpool. Some of the locations we're going to may have limited parking. We'll share that in advance if that is the case and encourage carpooling. But for the most part, folks can go directly there in the morning and directly home afterwards. So those are the 3 big logistics questions I'm sure folks probably had. We will feed you. You got to get yourself there, but it is going to take place during the normal workday. So that's the broad guidelines. In regards to what this actually looks like from a leave/HR perspective, no faculty or staff are going to be asked to use any of their personal time or sick time or any of those. It will be deemed administrative leave. You don't need to memorize this now. We will send this out to everyone that volunteers after the fact so they know how to code it properly on a timesheet if you are an employee that requires a timesheet. But you will code it as L, which is administrative leave, on a timesheet, and those will be approved. So, and again, we'll do those reminders once we get a little bit closer, but just wanted to share that in advance. Again, for your staff, they will not have to use PTO. They will not have to use any kind of personal time in order to participate in the service. It will be considered administrative leave. Okay. Any questions about that before I pull up the form and kind of talk about the process for applying? And if you've got one, feel free to just kind of unmute and jump in. Okay. So with that then, for those of you that managed to register for this webinar, you already know what webpage to go to. So you're one step ahead, which is great. The same page that you used to register for this webinar, you'll be able to share the same link. I will send it out again via email. If you don't have that link in front of you, you deleted it for some reason, or you can't find it when I send the email, it can also be accessed from the Office of Community Engagement website. So if you go to the Office of Community Engagement website, you scroll down to faculty and staff, you will see a button that says Hurricane Helene Recovery Workdays. It will take you to this page. Again, this is the same page you used to register for this webinar. There's now a button at the top. It is live. So as soon as you're off this, you're able to go ahead and register. You'll hit register participate. And this is for individuals or groups. So if you have it pulled up right now and you're about to register, I encourage you to let me walk you through it before you do it to make sure you register the correct way. Some of you I know on the call may be here as an individual employee that is wanting to volunteer on your own. That is great. You're going to use this form. If you are here and you're planning on registering kind of on behalf of your office or behalf of your unit or team or department as a whole, you're bringing the whole team. You also can do one registration on behalf of your team. You'll use the same form. Form's pretty straightforward. You're going to fill it out. This is whoever is filling out the form. This is their information at the top: name, email, phone number, e-number. It is then going to ask you if you are registering as an individual employee or as a department or unit. So again, if Sherry Clavier is just volunteering by herself, she will hit individual employee. But if she is registering her entire team and staff on behalf of the office, she can register as a department or unit. If you're registering as a group, go ahead and put what department or unit that is, just so we're clear. If you have an approximate number of people that you think will be participating, if it's the whole office, you can put the full number. If you think it's only a handful of people from the office, you can put that number. If you are well ahead of the game and you know exactly who from your office is going to be participating, you are welcome to upload a document. It could just be a Word doc with a e-number, names, emails. It could be a spreadsheet if you've got that. I know a couple of folks have already kind of started that process. You're welcome to upload that document here. If you do not know who on your team will actually be volunteering now that you have the dates, that is okay. You can skip that question and we will follow back up with you a little bit closer and ask for your list of folks. That based off of that list of folks, if you are registering as a group, we will put all of those folks into one email chain and we will get dietary restrictions, waivers, and things like that directly from those individuals. So you will not be responsible for getting that information from the individual employees. You're just responsible for making sure that we know who's on that list. We will reach out to them directly with a separate form, asking them to sign a waiver, confirm any dietary restrictions, special needs, and that's what we'll use to communicate actual service projects once we know the dates. Again, if you don't know who those folks are, don't worry. You can skip that question and we'll follow up a little bit closer. When you get to the bottom, this is the main part. Which dates are you or your department or unit available to serve? This is the same if you're registering on behalf of a group or as an individual, where you're able to select multiple. You can select all four, you can select one, you can select any combination. We do have a limited number of spots based off of each individual service project. So having said that, our ability to just allow people to select any given day, the likelihood of us quickly reaching that cap or overshooting that cap is very likely. So what we are going to encourage is you to mark the dates that you think you or your team are predominantly available. And then we will be able to do a high level look at those and do some more assignments. If you know for a fact that your team is only available on Tuesday, June 24th, it is okay to only mark the one. That way we know that that is a priority date. We've got it. But if you are genuinely available for most of the dates broadly and have some flexibility, I would encourage you to select multiple. That way we can try to prioritize and get as many folks in as possible. We'll do those assignments. We then will follow up and communicate with you and your team about what date we've selected for you. We'll ask for those final list of names if you haven't provided them already. and we'll go from there. And you've got some time, of course. The first date's not till June 24th, so we've got about a month, a little under a month before the first date. But we would like to try to knock some of these out probably in the next week or two. So being able to go ahead and share those, at least get, even if you don't have the list of names, at least let us know how many people and what your preferred dates are, so we can go ahead and start mapping out those dates. You'll get a follow-up confirmation once you hit submit, just letting you know that we did get it. Again, we'll look at it. We'll start doing some rough assignments. We'll let you know exactly what date we're thinking about putting you on. We'll confirm with you, a member of my team. If you haven't turned over your list of names yet, we'll ask for that, and then we'll do one-on follow-ups from there. But we'll provide everything via email communication, what your site is, where to go. If there are special guidelines for your site on what to wear, what not to wear, we'll be sure to provide those as well. Again, that will differ location to location. So, and I'm going to quit sharing my screen, and I'm assuming there are probably questions for Susan or I, either one. So we will open it up at this time.
Well, I guess, Nathan, do we want to talk about, we are still waiting for confirmation for sites. We do anticipate that the most likely sites will be some type of residential rebuild. And that could be, it could be demolition, it could be actually rebuilding, it could be painting, it could be landscaping, it could be in the yard, but
Yep.
it likely will be in a residential type of capacity, not commercial, not cleaning up a stream bank. There is one opportunity we're working on that would be helping with basically a supply center to provide materials to people, but we aren't certain of that yet. So we don't want to give you anything too much until we actually have it confirmed.
Yeah, but if you've ever participated in a rebuild with a Habitat for Humanity or an Appalachian Service project, most of the projects are going to lean in that direction. Some of those you may be starting kind of ground up, and some of the projects you may be putting the finishing touches and anywhere in between. But most of them are going to be more physical, a little bit more manual labor. We know that, as Susan shared, that may create some accessibility challenges. Unfortunately, to the best of our ability, we'll try to navigate those, but we also recognize that that is the nature of the work. A lot of these projects that are needed are in some heavily impacted areas, in disaster zones, and require some physical attention. So as you're thinking through you and your teams, and who may be interested, of course, please keep that in mind. But do know that we are working on trying to have at least one more accessible option. And we'll share that as soon as we have it. We don't want to commit to it at this moment until we have it locked in, but we're going to try to offer that as well. So.
So what questions, what have we not shared or have failed to think about that would be important for people to know? Great. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
No, I was going to say, I definitely encourage, obviously, those of you on the screen, I'm hoping you'll join us. If you joined as an employee, as an individual employee, just on your own, and you've got a team around you, please encourage them. We would love to fill every spot and have, 100 days of service throughout the summer, or maybe overshoot it a little bit if we're able to, but please encourage others. Again, if not everybody in your office or unit is able to participate, that's okay. The more the merrier. But we would absolutely love, I think it's a great opportunity. So if you're able, we would love to have you. So.
Yeah.
The hours were 15 hours total, correct? For each
I'm
employee?
sorry, it will be one day. So we did not clarify that. So for these, people would be limited to do one day. So
Okay.
not the 15 hours as previously, but one day. And we didn't share that. And that will give everybody more opportunity. And that's what the president encouraged us to do. So one day of work. Yeah. From this.
Okay.
And having said that, if there is a chance that let's say you've got a team of 15 people in your office or department, half of them are available on one day and half are available on another day. If you want to view it as two groups and register as two groups,
Yeah.
I think that's perfectly fine. But the goal is that we want as many individual, unique volunteers as possible, right? So the goal would be that Susan and I aren't going and volunteering all 4 days. Right. But if you need to view your team in maybe 2 or 3 buckets of people and want to register them as a couple of groups with some different priority dates, we could definitely make that work. But the goal is that nobody's volunteering more than one day as an individual employee.
Right, right. Thank you, Beth, for that. We'll put that on our slide for Friday's session. And I think the other thing is you may be like, well, I can do half a day, but I can't commit to the whole day. When Nathan and I communicate with our partners, we're going to assume you can do basically a 6.5, 7 hour workday. So if that is the case, we would encourage you to look at another day, maybe not sign up with that group if the whole group is going, because I want to make sure that if we are communicating to them that this is what we're bringing in terms of a work team, that they're going to arrange and schedule the work that needs to be done based on who will be available. So if people leave at noon and there's still things that need to be done in the afternoon, that doesn't really help fulfill the need that they have. So if folks can just be thoughtful about that, we want as many people as possible, but we also know that those dates that have been selected may not work for everyone. But hopefully it'll work for most people. And let's see, is there another? I saw one. Yeah, John just said, good question. All right, well,
Yeah.
Nathan, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sherry.
I just have a quick question. Do you all have like a single page, here's all the information you need, something we could use to help recruit among the people that we work with and interact with every single day that you could share with us?
Maybe what we could do, Nathan, is we might want to update the flyer that we handed out at the staff lunch, and we can attach that as a PDF on the website and send it to all of you.
Yep. And I can also upload this recording and include some of the kind of frequently asked questions on that page. So if you will give us probably until tomorrow, if that is okay, if you'll give us till tomorrow, that page at the faculty staff, the same page where you would go to register that you registered for this webinar, at the bottom, I will do that. I'll add like a little bit of an FAQ and a copy of this video and some material and probably have that done by midday tomorrow. So happy to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think the last thing I would just say is I know that the provost office has already identified a date and asked everyone who was a direct report to the provost in that office to be available that day. And the president's office has done the same thing. So it felt very important to them to do that and be a part of this. And they're really eager to do so. Yeah. Great. Well, Nathan, I'll hang around for a minute or two, see if anybody has any other questions. I'll go ahead and stop the recording and we will upload this. Again, thank you.